So, thanks to a cool end of summer in Ohio, I'm going to begin planting my outdoor morel beds. And you can see here before me, I have 2 shelves of americana up here. If you remember, the americana is what I made first. And lots of sclerotia has formed on the outside of the bags, as it should. It's darkened up a little bit in color. Pretty much the same MO as I saw from the black morels that I tried last year. Now it's about 75 degrees high outside today, and it's end of August. And normally I would be doing this ideally around the first, second week of September when outdoor temperatures have averaged around, mid-70s. But like I said, it's been unusually cool, so I can get an early start, which is good because the earlier I get this in, hopefully the more time it'll have to establish itself and produce bigger yields. And over here too, I have some import tuna that I made yesterday. It'll still be a month before I put that in. Let's go down in the basement and see some more spawn that I've got going. You see I have 5 more shelves of sawdust spawn down here in the basement. Also in my walk-in cooler I still have 8 more bags of grain spawn of both import tuna and Rufo Bruna that I need to make up, and I'll get all that in before it gets too cold outside. Ideally you want to get all your spawn in by the end of November. It'll be too cold by the time December rolls around. And here's another shelf of americana. And then I have the vulgaris, which you can see eventually does start making sclerotia. It just takes a little more time, but just as strong as everything else. More vulgaris back here, and then some import tuna. And I'll free up some more shelf space upstairs once I get that americana out. It is only about 65 degrees, 65 to 70 in my basement. So a little cooler, so stuff would be growing just a little bit slower down here, but probably not really anything noticeable. So I'm gonna go outside, get things prepared. I still have to go to the hardware store and get some supplies like plastic and rebar, and then we'll start making some beds outdoors. I'm back up on this hilly area. You can see to the right of me this one bed I made at the top. And then I have these 2 burn piles covered with some tall weeds around them. My plan is to make several rows going downhill, because you always want your rows to go downhill so the water drains. And it looks like I can make about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and still have a little bit of yard left over. So about 6 of them, about 30 feet long, and about 3 feet wide. A little more, I'm going for a little bit more narrow than a standard garden vegetable bed. And of course I'm going to be incorporating all this ash into it, so I'm going to try to mix that up and down the row some. And not going to be adding any extra ash that wasn't already added to my mixtures in the sawdust. But yeah, I'm going to get this started. I'm not going to do all the rows at the same time, just because I know I'm not going to be able to make all the beds on the same day. And that way, if it rains on me, then I can have beds completely done and not a bunch of wet dirt out there when I'm trying to dig it up and whatnot. Something else to note: it rained yesterday and the day before, so the ground's already decently moist. So there's no need to add any extra water to the row. Now, of course, if your ground is bare dry, you want to go ahead and water the row before you add your spawn. But with the ground at the moisture level it is right now, all I'm going to do is till it up, furrow it up into rows, and then we'll go from there. Alright, got this first bed tilled up and furrowed up on the sides. I went over it with the hoe and kind of cleaned it up a bit more, so I get some of this loose dirt up on the sides, back towards the center of it. You want the center of the row to be about 6 inches of loose earth. And you can see the dirt up here isn't too bad. It's like half clay, half good soil. Unlike the area by the garden, which is closer to the creek, it was a bit more almost all clay when I made those rows years back. Yeah, I kind of forgot how hard it was to make fresh rows. It's a lot of work just to make this about 30-35 foot row. Took about an hour and a half, 2 hours of tilling and furrowing. So yeah, I'm already beat, so I'm gonna try to do another row before the end of the day, and then probably tomorrow or Friday, 2 days from now, I'll come back out here and put the spawn in it and cover it up with plastic. And the way I'm going to put the spawn in it is a bit different, kind of a way that's been proprietary by the Morel King. But so you know, you can always just dig a trench, fill the spawn in, no more than really about 4 inches deep of spawn, and then cover it up with about 1 to 2 inches of soil, and then plastic or cardboard or whatever else on top. Some of these rows I'm going to cover with a layer of wetted coconut core, like this kind that gets on a 5 kilogram block. Same type that I've been using for casing of my king oysters. And then to cover that, I have some light duty sheet plastic. And this is clear. You can use any color, whatever is cheapest you can find. This is just 0.7 mil. You know, pretty much is going to be one season's use. And it's 12 feet wide, so I'm going to cut it down into lengths that are only about 4 feet wide. And then, to hold the plastic down, I'm going to pound in my rebar pieces, which these are 18-inch sections of rebar. And next spring, the PVC pipe will slide over those, and that will support shade cloth. Since it's kind of cool this end of summer, I'm not going to need to put shade cloth up this year, at the end of the year. So I'll just use the rebar as kind of like stakes, and then I'll add some actual sod staples, the same kind of metal stakes I would use to pin down my landscape fabric, to hold down the plastic even more. And of course you can use bricks or dirt or whatever you like.